They always say desperation makes you blind. I didn't believe that until I took the job at Hollow Creek. I was 29, broke, and sleeping in the back of my truck behind a half-abandoned diner off Route 64. After the grain mill shut down, I thought I could make ends meet doing odd jobs. But the bills kept coming, and my mother's house, what little we had left, was hanging by a thread. Then I saw it, a small, handwritten note pinned to the corkboard inside a dusty gas station. Farm help needed. No experience required. Cash daily. No phone number. Just an address scribbled in smudged pencil. Perry Hollow Farm. When I asked the clerk about it, the color drained from his face. He wiped his hands on his apron, looked at the clock, then back at me. "Don't go down Hollow Creek Road after dark," he said quietly. "And if you hear the well calling, don't look in." I laughed, awkwardly. Probably just a local superstition. But the way he said it, it didn't sound like a joke. By sunset, I was already miles out, heading west. The road turned from gravel to dirt, then to something that barely qualified as a path. Hollow Creek looked untouched by time. Fields stretching endlessly, black crows perched like sentinels on fence posts. The farmhouse appeared at the end of a long, overgrown driveway. Its windows were blind with dust, the porch sagging like a tired animal. The barn stood crooked beside it, painted a color that might have once been red. Mr. Abram Perry was waiting for me by the gate. He looked older than the house itself, thin, hollow-cheeked, with eyes the color of storm clouds. He didn't smile, didn't offer his hand, just stared for a moment, then said, "You came for work?" I nodded. He handed me an envelope. The paper was yellowed and soft, like it had been handled too many times. "If you want the money," he said, voice low and dry, "follow the rules." Inside the envelope were two things: a crisp wad of cash, $200, and a folded sheet of paper covered in faint, red ink handwriting. I wanted to ask what the rules were for, but before I could, Perry was already walking back toward the house, cane tapping against the dirt. That night, I lay in the worker's shed, staring at the cracked ceiling, the paper resting on the table beside me. Around midnight, the crickets went silent, and from somewhere out in the fields, near the dry old well, I swear I heard something whisper my name. Morning light spilled through the cracks in the shed walls, painting long slats across Luke's face. For a moment, he forgot where he was, until the low, distant creak of the windmill reminded him. Perry Hollow Farm. The job. The rules. He sat up, unfolded the sheet of paper, and smoothed it flat on the small wooden table. The handwriting was shaky, letters pressed too deep into the page, like they'd been written by someone afraid the words might fade if they didn't cut them in. The Perry Hollow Farm rules. 1. Start work at 5 a.m. sharp. If the rooster crows twice before dawn, stay inside until the 3rd. 2. Never enter the farmhouse unless invited by me, Abram Perry. 3. If you see a woman in white walking near the cornrows, don't look directly at her. Keep your head down and keep walking. 4. Bring your own lunch. Never accept food or drink offered by anyone else on the property. 5. If the well starts to whisper your name, cover your ears and hum until it stops. Do not respond. Luke exhaled, running a hand through his hair. Old man's idea of a joke, he muttered. But something about that last rule sat wrong with him. The well. He remembered hearing the whisper last night. Just the wind, he told himself. Just the wind. He folded the paper and tucked it into his jacket pocket before stepping outside. The morning air was sharp with the smell of dirt and dew. The fields stretched endlessly, a sea of pale green beneath a silver mist. Mr. Perry was already outside, sitting on the porch with a mug of something steaming in his hand. "You read the rules?" the old man asked without looking up. "Yeah," Luke said. "You really take them that seriously?" Perry's clouded eyes shifted toward him, slow and deliberate. "The land's old," he said. "It remembers who listens." Luke gave a polite nod, though he didn't know what that meant. The day passed in quiet repetition, feeding the livestock, mending a section of broken fence, moving hay bales from one end of the field to the other. No one else around. No voices. Just the steady rhythm of his work and the occasional caw of crows. But as dusk approached, the sky turned strange, pink fading into gray, the clouds hanging too low, like they were pressing down on the farm itself. Luke felt the air shift, heavy and wet. Then he heard it, a faint, wet tapping. Drip, drip, drip. He turned toward the sound. The old well sat at the far edge of the property, surrounded by tall grass and a ring of stones covered in moss. The air near it felt colder somehow. He tried to ignore it, but then, softly, "Luke!" He froze. The voice was distant but unmistakable. His mother's, the exact tone she used when he was a boy, and she wanted him home for dinner. "Luke, honey, come here." He stood perfectly still, every muscle tight. "Just the wind," he whispered to himself. "Just the wind." He gripped his shovel tighter and forced himself to walk away. One step, then another. The rules echoed in his mind. Cover your ears and hum until it stops. But curiosity clawed at him. The voice grew louder, closer. It wasn't coming from the well anymore. It was behind him. He turned slightly, just enough to catch something at the edge of his vision. A pale shape standing near the cornrows. A woman in white, motionless, watching. Luke stumbled back, heart pounding. He looked down, forcing his eyes to the ground, walking faster, almost running now. When he reached the shed, he slammed the door shut, breathing hard. Outside, the crickets had gone silent again, and in the stillness that followed, the voice returned. Softer this time, almost pleading. "Luke, please don't leave me here." The first week passed without incident. Luke woke before dawn, followed the routine, worked the fields, and collected his pay in a plain white envelope left on the porch each night. $300 a day cash. More money than he'd ever made before. Enough to pay off the loan sharks, fix the truck, maybe even move his mother out of that moldy trailer by winter. He told himself he could endure the silence, the fog, the strange hush that hung over the land like a held breath. But soon, the cracks began to show. It started with the rooster. Some mornings, it would crow twice before dawn, a sound sharp enough to cut through sleep. On those days, the world outside didn't look right. The sky seemed bruised, the trees too still, and the air smelled faintly of iron. Luke stayed inside, waiting for the third crow like the rule said, and when it finally came, the world seemed to reset, colors returning to normal, the birds singing again. He laughed about it at first. Old superstition, he told himself, but deep down he wasn't laughing. Then came the shadows. Near sunset, while hauling bales back toward the barn, Luke noticed that his shadow didn't stretch the same way as the fence posts or the trees. Theirs leaned east, but it stretched north, long, unnatural, reaching into the cornrows as though it wanted to crawl away. And once, just once, he swore he saw another man in the distance, bent over the soil, working the same row. Same flannel shirt, same boots, same rhythm. When Luke stopped to wipe his brow, the other figure stopped too. When he stood up straight, the man did the same. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, and the figure was gone. He tried to shake it off. Sleep deprivation, maybe, long hours under the sun. That night, he wrote it all off as stress. But as he lay in bed, he realized something unsettling. He hadn't seen Mr. Perry all day. Not once. By the seventh night, the air had turned colder. The crickets had stopped again. Luke sat on the porch steps after dinner, nursing a bottle of warm water and trying not to think about the well at the far edge of the property. That's when he saw her. At first, just movement, something pale between the rows. Then, clearer, a woman, drenched, her white dress clinging to her thin frame, hair hanging like black seaweed. She was walking slowly, almost dragging one foot behind the other. Her head tilted sharply to the side, as if her neck had snapped long ago. Luke froze, remembering rule number 3. If you see a woman in white walking near the cornrows, don't look directly at her. Keep your head down and keep walking. He didn't move. He didn't even breathe. The sound of wet footsteps drew closer, squelching in the soil. Then, silence, right behind him. He could feel her there. The cold radiating from her was real, pressing against the back of his neck. Then, a whisper, soft and trembling, brushing against his ear. "You shouldn't have come here, Luke." The voice was both unfamiliar and horribly intimate, like someone he had known once, long ago. He bolted, ran through the field, tripping over roots, crashing into the shed and slamming the door behind him. His hands shook uncontrollably. He stared at the walls, waiting for something, anything, to happen. But there was only silence. Then, faintly, the cricket started up again. He didn't sleep that night. Around 2 a.m., he heard it. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on the shed door. Knock, knock, knock. He sat frozen on the cot, every nerve screaming to stay still. Then came a voice. "Open up, son. You forgot something." It was Perry's voice, deep, gravelly, calm, but something was wrong about it, like an echo that didn't quite match the original tone. He turned toward the small window, heart pounding. Through the cracked glass, across the field illuminated by moonlight, he saw him, Mr. Perry, standing out there, in the field, perfectly still, watching. Luke's breath hitched. The voice came again, closer now, from just outside the door. "Son, it's cold out here. You forgot your pay." Luke's eyes darted between the door and the figure in the distance. One was still, the other was speaking. That's when he noticed it. The figure in the field didn't cast a shadow. He backed away from the door slowly, not daring to make a sound. The knocking stopped. For a moment, the silence was total. Then came a new sound, something soft and wet sliding under the crack of the door like fingers dragging through mud. Luke stumbled backward, tripped over his cot, heart hammering so hard he thought it might burst. Outside, the voice spoke one last time. Calm, patient, almost gentle. "You're already part of it, Luke. The farm remembers everyone who listens." He didn't open the door. He sat there until sunrise, clutching the shovel across his lap. When he finally stepped outside, the ground was clean. No footprints, no mud, but the shed door had one small mark scratched into it. A crooked handprint, pressed deep into the wood grain, still damp. By the 9th day, the sun had turned cruel. The Kentucky sky hung heavy and white, and the air shimmered over the fields like oil on boiling water. Sweat rolled down Luke's back in thin, burning trails. His throat was dry enough to rasp when he swallowed. He'd already drained his last bottle of water by noon, but the day wasn't over, not even close. Perry hadn't been around all morning, and the silence was starting to feel alive. Luke leaned on his shovel, eyes darting to the tree line. Every insect seemed to have vanished, leaving only the hollow hum of heat and the wind sighing through the corn. That's when he saw it. A tin cup sitting on a fence post, the metal glinting in the light. Cold condensation beaded down its sides. Water, impossibly clear, impossibly cold, dripped slowly from the rim, pattering into the dust below. He froze. His mind went instantly to rule number 4. Bring your own lunch. Never accept food or drink offered by anyone else on the property. He stared at the cup, his heart pounding. "It's just water," he muttered. Nobody offered it. Maybe Perry left it here. But even as he said it, the back of his neck prickled. The cup hadn't been there that morning. He looked around. The field stretched endlessly in every direction, still as death. The farmhouse windows glared back at him like blind eyes. He swallowed again, dry, painful. His lips were cracked and bleeding. Just one sip. He reached for the cup. The metal was icy to the touch, shockingly cold despite the heat. He hesitated only a moment before lifting it to his lips and drinking deep. The water was sweet, impossibly so. Cold, clean, almost electric. It slid down his throat like liquid relief. Then everything bent. The air seemed to ripple. The rows of corn tilted as if bowing toward him. The light dimmed, not gradually, but all at once, like a hand had reached up and smothered the sun. The sound of the wind died. Then something else took its place. Whispers. Faint, overlapping, impossible to track. They came from the fields, from the soil, from everywhere. He turned in circles, scanning the corn, but there was no one there, only that whispering chorus. Then he realized the voices were all saying the same thing. His name. Luke. 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 He stumbled backward, nearly dropping the cup. His pulse thundered in his ears. He looked down and froze. In the puddle beneath the fence post, he saw his reflection, but it wasn't right. It blinked, a beat too late, and then it smiled. He staggered back, eyes wide, gasping for breath. The sky above had gone wrong, a deep, bruised purple, though it was barely afternoon. The air felt thicker, harder to breathe. The corn began to move, not swaying, but shifting, parting in neat, deliberate rows. And through the opening, she appeared again, the woman in white. Closer this time. Her dress clung wetly to her skin, mud streaking the fabric. She walked with an uneven limp, her neck still cocked at that impossible angle. Luke's vision wavered as he backed away. Her face was clearer now, pale, almost translucent. But her eyes were hollow, empty sockets where movement writhed deep inside. Roots, long, thin roots, twisting and coiling as if tasting the air. She smiled, and when she did, the whispering stopped. The silence was worse. Luke's breath caught. He wanted to run, to scream, but the world had gone soft at the edges. Then, faintly, the ground beneath him pulsed, a slow, steady rhythm like the heartbeat of the earth. The woman tilted her head the other way. The corner of her mouth twitched. "Thirst always remembers," she whispered. And the whisper came not from her mouth, but from the well. He turned and ran. Through the fields, through the fading light. The world warped around him like melted glass. His vision tunneled, and every step felt heavier than the last. The air smelled of rust and rot. He stumbled once, twice, then fell. The last thing he saw before everything went dark was the sky collapsing into itself, clouds twisting into a spiral over the old well. When he woke, it was night. He was lying in the dirt near the barn. His mouth was full of the taste of rust and soil. The cup was gone. The air was still, except for the faint, rhythmic creak of the windmill in the distance. He sat up, heart pounding, and spat into the dust. The spit came out red. Luke staggered back to the shed, trembling. His throat still burned with that metallic taste. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him, not from outside, but from within the dark. That night, he dreamed again of the well. He stood at its edge, looking down. The water shimmered black. Something deep below whispered his name, soft, tender, pleading. This time, Luke didn't cover his ears. This time, he whispered back, and the well whispered back again. Luke didn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the whisper of roots sliding through the soil beneath the shed, threading closer. The taste of dirt still clung to his tongue. When the first gray light of dawn cut through the window, he was already outside, waiting for Perry. The old man appeared just after 5, moving slower than usual, his cane sinking into the soft earth with every step. His face looked hollow, like something had been drained out of him. Luke stormed toward him. "What the hell is this place, Perry?" His voice cracked. "I drank the water. You said follow the rules, and now everything's wrong." Perry didn't answer at first. He looked past Luke toward the fields, where the corn stalks swayed gently though there was no wind. "You shouldn't have done that," he said finally. "Once the land tastes you, it remembers." Luke grabbed his shoulder. "You're going to tell me what's happening, old man." Now, for a long moment, Perry just stood there, staring at the horizon. Then he sighed, a long, rattling breath that sounded like defeat. "All right," he said, "you deserve to know." He motioned for Luke to follow him toward the barn. Inside, the air was cool and heavy, smelling of dust, old hay, and something faintly metallic. In the far corner, beneath a tarp, was a set of rusted metal doors set into the ground, like a cellar. "This isn't a farm," Perry said quietly. "It's a containment site." Luke frowned. "Containment for what?" Perry's eyes lifted to the ceiling, as if he were listening to something. "It started before my time. This land used to be a mining shaft, a company town back in the 30s. They dug deep, looking for iron. Instead, they found something else." He walked to the trapdoor and pulled the tarp aside. Beneath it, the metal was warped, faintly pulsing, like something breathing just under the surface. They said it was roots at first, Perry continued. But roots don't move like that. Don't hum. Don't bleed when you cut them. Luke stepped back. You're telling me there's something alive under there? Alive, Perry said, and hungry. He tapped his cane against the metal. A low vibration rippled through the floorboards. Luke felt it crawl up his legs. The miners woke it. It fed on them first, drained them dry. When the survivors tried to seal the tunnels, the ground started to grow, spread. The town called for help. The government came in, built this farm to hide what was left. Luke's voice trembled. And you just stayed here, guarding it? Perry nodded. The Perrys were paid to keep the rules, to keep it sleeping. The well was its mouth. The water you drank, that's part of it. Every worker who breaks a rule feeds it. Blood, memory, soul. The woman you saw, she used to be one of mine. Couldn't keep her eyes down. The reflection in the puddle, another. They all live here now, under the roots. Luke backed toward the door, shaking his head. You're insane. Perry's gaze hardened. You think I want this job? You think I like watching people disappear? I tried to close the farm decades ago, but it doesn't let you leave until it's had its share. The words hit Luke like ice water. What do you mean, its share? Perry hesitated, then said quietly, 5 workers came before you. The land took 4. It'll want 1 more to balance the roots. You broke a rule, Luke. You've already been marked. Luke's stomach twisted. No, I'm leaving. I'll drive out of here and never come back. The old man shook his head. You can try, but the land remembers. It follows those who listen. You drank from its cup. That's an invitation. From outside, the wind shifted. The cornfield rustled, but not like before. It sounded deliberate, rhythmic, almost like breathing. Luke's pulse hammered in his ears. What happens if I don't feed it? Perry looked down at the pulsing metal trapdoor, his voice trembling. Then it'll wake. A dull thud sounded beneath them, slow, heavy, like a heartbeat rising from the earth. Perry turned toward Luke, his eyes suddenly wet. You should have never come here, boy. The rules weren't to keep you safe. They were to keep it asleep. Outside, the whisper of his name carried through the corn again, louder this time, calling. The storm rolls in just after midnight. The sky turns the color of old ash, and the wind howls through the hollow like a living thing. Luke can't sleep. Every time he closes his eyes, he hears the faint hum of the well, steady, pulsing, growing louder. He paces inside the shed, clutching his flashlight. Perry sits in the main house, staring out the window toward the fields. When the first scream echoes from the well, it sounds like metal twisting, but layered underneath is something human. Luke bursts through the door. What is that? Perry's eyes are glassy, his voice shaking. It's waking. The roots know you broke the rule. It's calling for you. Before Luke can respond, the ground shudders violently. Boards crack beneath his feet. The air fills with a sickly sweet smell, like wet soil and decay. Then the screaming starts again, higher, sharper. Not from the well this time, but from beneath the barn. Perry limps toward the door, yelling, Run. Get out before. His voice distorts mid-sentence, shifting pitch, tone, texture. It becomes Luke's. Luke, help me, it says. I can't see. Luke freezes. The words claw at the edge of his mind. His own voice, trembling, terrified. It's impossible, and yet it sounds so real. Mr. Perry, he whispers. The old man turns. His skin ripples. The lines of his face bend and twist until it's Luke staring back. Another him, older, hollow-eyed, mouth twitching in pain. Don't leave me, the copy begs. Luke stumbles backward, flashlight flickering. The beam catches on something moving behind the double. The woman in white. She glides forward, her soaked dress dragging through the dirt. Her head tilts, and her smile cracks open too wide. Luke remembers the rule. Don't look directly at her. But he does. Her face splits apart like rotten bark, revealing spirals of soil and bone, roots writhing inside the hollow of her skull. The light goes out. She lunges. Her hands, cold, rough, alive, grip his wrists, dragging him across the dirt toward the well. The earth opens wider, trembling as if inhaling. Inside the well, Something glows faintly, hundreds of faces, pale and shifting beneath the surface of the water. All of them whisper the same word, over and over. Luke! He kicks, claws at the ground, screaming, "It's not me." The roots coil tighter, the whispers crescendo, turning to static. And then, silence. The well seals itself shut. The storm dies. When morning comes, Perry Hollow is empty. The shed door swings, open in the wind. On the ground beside the well lies a torn scrap of paper. The rules list, with one more line added in fresh red ink. 6. If the well ever screams, do not look at who calls your name. It already sounds like you. A month passes. The heat of late summer settles over Hollow Creek, thick and unmoving. A rusted pickup pulls into Perry Hollow Farm. Behind the wheel is Ryan Keller, 22, broke, desperate, and too proud to admit it. He spots the old man waiting by the porch. Mr. Perry, leaning on his cane, his face half hidden beneath the shadow of his hat. "You're here for the job," Perry says flatly, voice barely carrying over the cicadas. "It pays well, but it's not easy." Ryan nods, eager. "I'll do whatever needs doing." Perry studies him for a long, silent moment before handing over an envelope, the same kind Luke once held. Inside are several crisp bills and a folded, weather-stained note. "The Perry Hollow Farm rules." Ryan reads aloud, half smiling. "Start at 5 a.m. Don't look at the woman. Don't drink anything here." He pauses at the last line, written in smeared red ink, still damp around the edges. 6. If you hear me calling your name from the well, don't answer. It's already learned how to sound like me. Ryan frowns. "Why would you be in the well, sir?" Perry doesn't reply. His expression doesn't change, but his eyes flick toward the cornfields. Something stirs between the rows, tall, slow, human-shaped. The wind stops. Even the insects go silent. Ryan swallows hard. Is someone else working here? Perry finally speaks, voice hollow and distant. "No, not anymore." Then, from the direction of the well, a voice, familiar, calm, tired, rises through the still air. "Welcome to the farm." Perry's cane trembles. His lips move, but no sound follows, because the voice is his.